Hi there, Shannon Gonter here with Therapy by Shannon, and just going to answer some questions today about confidentiality and how to know truly that the information in the stories and the hardships that you share with your mental health counselor are not going to be shared with anyone else. So the law protects all communications between you and your counselor, and it's important to note that all, really means all here. That means communication within the therapy sessions, if you're doing telehealth sessions, text, phone calls, emails, faxes, even in-person communication outside of sessions, literally all communications that you would have are going to be protected under that. And they're going to be kept confidential pretty much for forever. And yeah, I do mean forever. Most licensing boards of mental health counselors or social workers, and confidentiality laws extend past the death of a client. So meaning if Bob Boberson is my client from 2016 to 2018, I will keep his information and the fact that he was even a client of mine for my ears and my eyes only, and in 50 years, still going to be the same. And when he passes away, still going to be the same. Of course, we can talk to other professionals or other people about treatment-related things if a release of information is signed by the client. But of course, you being the client are going to have to sign that paperwork, so you're going to know who we can and cannot talk to about your treatment. Kind of more specifically to the Louisville population that we have here, we by no means are a small town, but we are definitely not a large city. And so the potential for you to cross paths with your counselor outside of the therapy hour is pretty high. Typically, your counselor is going to have a policy about this surrounding, what they do and don't do if they run into you outside of session. They'll usually talk to you about it in your intake appointment. If they don't, ask so you can kind of plan for this to happen in case it does happen. If you run into each other outside of the therapy hour in the community, your therapist will most likely not make it known that they know you, because even outside of a session, it's our duty as therapists to protect you and your confidentiality. So kind of, again, suggestion to have this conversation with your counselor to see how they handle situations outside of sessions so you can plan for it. Personally, if I see a client at Kroger or at Cherokee Park or at a bar or the movies or wherever, I act as if I have never met them. This is not because I don't want to smile at them or I don't want to say hi to them. It's really to protect my clients and their rights that they have as being a mental health client of mine. I also, really want to ensure that they're not put in a kind of a situation at all where they would have to disclose to a friend or a family member or even, a bystander about how they knew me. If my client makes a decision to interact with me in the community, that's their personal choice, and I, of course, will follow their lead. But kind of more specifically, I know I've been using this word confidentiality a lot, but there are definitely some limits to confidentiality in the mental health setting. So in most situations, a counselor can, again, only release information to someone if they have an ROI or a written authorization for a release of information. But there are some situations in which counselors are legally obligated to take actions and kind of break that confidentiality between the client and counselor to protect the client or protect others from harm. So if that situation arises, the counselor is, of course, going to limit disclosure to what is necessary for that given situation. But if the professional has any reason to believe that a child or vulnerable adult is being neglected or abused, the law requires that the situation be reported to the appropriate state agencies. If a counselor believes that a client presents clear or substantial danger of harm to themselves or to others, they also ethically are obligated to take protective actions for that client or for the others. And these actions, may include contacting family members, seeking a higher level of care for that individual, notifying any potential victims, and notifying the police or other agencies within the state. So, of course, this whole, short little video is about to is there to inform you about confidentiality and how to really ensure that you and your therapist are kind of keeping those clear lines of confidentiality. But again, your counselor will review all of this with you, and if they don't, ask questions. look into the paperwork that you signed, and really don't hesitate to ask your therapist any questions about the laws of confidentiality. This is a really unique thing between the relationship of a counselor and client, and it just really needs to be understood by all and clear. So again, all this information is in written form on my website if you want to check out this blog or any of the other blogs. And it's been great